Hello everyone, welcome to the first gaming video on the channel. Today we'll be playing this game called Steel Ocean. This is a naval World War II era um, naval battle game. It is not really a simulation; it's more of an arcadey game. Now a lot of people compares this game to another quite popular game, World of Warships, and due to the fact that this game has slightly inferior graphics and that it's made by Chinese developers, a lot of people just automatically assume that it's kind of a knockoff of World of Warships, and I would just like to say that it is definitely not that. I've invested about maybe 20 to 30 hours into World of Warships, and probably three times that into Steel Ocean, and I feel like these two games are extremely different, and Steel Ocean has a lot of good qualities that quite frankly makes it in a lot of ways more fun and enjoyable to play. Um, for example, the maps are generally a little bit smaller, um, so it makes the battle last a little bit shorter than World of Warship games. These battles typically last in Steel Ocean typically last about you know 10 minutes, 10 15 minutes at most, and this is due to the slightly reduced distance between the ships, and this causes the action to be a little bit more fast paced. You're not spending half your time just trying to navigate around, and trying to get into the fight. Most of the time you're only a little bit away from the fight, and only when you die and respawn will you be truly trying to get to the fight, except for the initial stages. And today I'll be playing the Mogami 1935. This is one of my highest unlocked ships. It is a tier 7 Japanese heavy cruiser. Uh, or excuse me, it's a light cruiser actually. One of the rare higher level light cruisers. Um, let's see, a general overview of the ship. It has five triple turrets, so 15 guns, and due to the fact that it's a light cruiser, um, or rather, historically, it qualified as a light cruiser because of the caliber of its guns. I believe the caliber is only about 200 millimeter. Um, so these triple guns are not going to be anywhere close to the range of most battleship level guns that the heavy cruisers and the battleships carry. Now, however, these will outrange most of your, destroyers. So in typical naval game fashion, the light cruisers, they have a kind of a DD hunter role, and you know, these guys will put so much damage and put out some destroyers real quick. However, these caliber cannons will probably not do a whole lot against at least the side armor of most battleships. It'll probably penetrate most heavy cruisers um, at the same tier or below. But battleships, you're probably going to have to try to get some high angle, max distance deck shots to go for the slightly thinner deck armor. Um, and I don't know if it's possible to see, but currently I'm going at 38 knots, and this is due to the fact that the ship's base speed was, I think, 33. It starts off with 33 if you have stock, and if you buy the engine upgrade, it goes up to like 36. And I have two people in my crew that can increase the top speed by 1 knot each. So my top speed ended up being 38, which makes the ship extremely quick, um, which it really needs to be because Japanese ships in general are not the most resilient. Um, they do typically in the same tier have the highest hit points, so that does make up for the lack of resiliency. But these guys these guys really do not have a whole lot of deck armor, and basically anything will pin you in this Mogami 1935. And as you can see here, it doesn't take too many shots from battleships to sink you. Um, your armor is basically useless against maybe the smallest caliber destroyer guns, and your biggest asset is really your speed and maneuverability. The steering on this shit is amazing, and I would highly recommend getting the steering module upgrade. Buy that module instead of um, the reload. I feel like the most useful three modules are the rangefinder, the steering, and also pick one of the accuracy improvement ones, whether it's steering or turret rotation. Doesn't really matter. They both help. I personally pick turret because I feel like you're moving your turret more than you're steering your ship. Although in this ship you really should play it more like a destroyer, so you should be zigzagging basically the entire time. Anytime you're within shooting distance of enemy ship. This ship is pretty large, pretty wide. Japanese destroyers, maybe aside from destroyers, Japanese ships in general in Steel Ocean are quite large. They're quite wide, especially at the waist area. Um, Now, just looking at the silhouette of the ship, this ship is much longer, or maybe not much, but it is definitely longer and wider than the other cruisers at this tier. So, as a result, you really have to try to, use your speed and maneuverability to dodge most of the shots, because most ships, even with horrible spread, will get a couple shots on you, and those battleship shells will hurt like heck. Now, for this game, well, our the aircraft carrier on my team is excellent, and he is doing an excellent job doing damage and also scouting, and keeping the other team's fighters from shooting down too many VARs. Not that I think the other team's CV has too many fighters, but it seems like this round we have basically, we have the air superiority, because of our carrier player is um, his skill level is pretty high, and here you're about to see me have a fairly close encounter with a battleship, and I believe it's a Nelson. Um, Now, your best chance of fighting these is going to be maybe go in when they're distracted. Now, with the Mogami, you do have excellent speed, so you could close the distance rather quickly, and especially if you have a couple of smokes. I certainly would not recommend against, charging in, let off one side of, all your torps, and see if you can turn around and try what I'm doing. Use the first side to maybe just force him to either stop or turn a certain way. This way, it'll make him a lot easier to hit with your second salvo of torpedoes. Most battleships, even the slower ones, it's really going to be hard if they're not doing, if they're not like sitting still, it's going to be really hard for you to hit them with just like one salvo. Here you can see me doing a stopping and going maneuver, which is just basically reducing your speed to zero as quickly as you can, and then go full speed and full acceleration. This really throws off a lot of people's aim, and for battleships, once you miss, you're basically sitting duck for another 30 to 40 seconds, so it's a super useful maneuver. And I believe this is going to be the end of the battle. The CV player will finish off the other ship. And that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching.